there's a very simple exercise you can do that activates motion in the lumbar spine. Remember, the individual vertebrae are little stacks of building blocks with a spongy disc cushion wedged in between each one. One of the most common degenerative effects of the disc is something called desiccation, or drying out of the disc. There's a pumping exercise. It's quite simple, and all you do is isolate your lumbar region. I teach people to draw an imaginary line from their back belt loop going at an incline up through their sternum, through the chest, the breastbone. And then you slowly pump your lower back and forth, like this. So it seems quite simple. It's basically perpetual motion. Your primary objective is to keep this focal point right here from sinking back. So we want to try to always keep this arch supported. Notice though that we don't want to overarch it. We want to keep it supported, and we don't want to sit with it too forced forward, too much force forward, overarched. A lumbar pillow is good, but if you don't have a pillow, you should still be intentional. If I'm in the car and you pull up to a red light, you have 20 seconds at a red light, that's a great time to do a little back and forth motion. I call it a 3-pump, because if you can at least get about 3 pumps in, back and forth, then you are actually doing something that's good for your lower back. So it would look like this. It would go 1, 2, 3. Now I like to add breathing into this to make it more effective. So remember, you're moving your chest and your shoulder blades opposite your lower back. So it's going to look like this. 1, 2, 3. So 3 pumps, back and forth. I call it the 3-pump for this very purpose. The main thing to remember is after you've pumped it back and forth, where you're rocking your hips back and forth, try to remember to end up slightly forward rather than backward. Okay, that's the main thing. So it not only pumps the hydraulics of your lower back, but it also acts as a reinforcement and a reminder about the proper posture and proper position of your lower back, so that you're getting the optimal arching effect of the base of your spine. So your sacrum is the foundational bone here, and your lumbar vertebrae are stacked up in this forward arch right here. So we want to encourage that arch, and we want to pump it. Now, if you're in public, obviously it would look odd to do this back and forth pumping motion. So if you're in public, just do it in a more subtle, a more discreet way. So for example, if I'm at a restaurant, I could be sitting at the restaurant with one leg crossed, kind of a bit of a piriformis stretch, and then very discreetly, very subtly, I'm actually slowly moving my lower back and forth. So that's perpetual motion, but it's a very subtle motion. You're not forcing anything. Nobody can even tell that you're doing it as you're sitting there. Then you can change legs and then stretch the other piriformis muscle group while sitting there and very slowly moving your lower back and forth. So if you're at your computer, or if you're in your car, or you're on an airplane, or no matter where you are at a ball game, this is something to remember. It acts as a reinforcement and a reminder. Try to get in the habit of doing this little 3-pump maneuver all day long. This is perpetual motion. Think of it kind of like a hydrating effect. It's like you're lubricating your lower back. You're encouraging the spongy discs of your lower back. So if nobody's looking and you're by yourself, a few pumps, breathe. So breathe intermittently. Exhale as you go forward. Doesn't matter if you do it opposite. It just works better if you exhale when you exert. So breathing is an intentional thing as well. Helps dissipate stress. There are all kinds of physiological benefits if you add breathing to this too, but my primary purpose is to pump the lower back because it's good for your lower back, the discs, the hydraulic effect, plus it reminds us to assume a forward arch. Also remember, as you go forward, lift your chest and your sternum forward and up. That will actually create a bit of a tractioning effect in your lower back. So I'll show that one again. Okay, so that's the 3-pump exercise. It's very easy to do. It's very simple to do. You should average at least once an hour all day long, or whenever you think about it, whichever comes first. This can be done discreetly, so you don't look odd. Just remember, it's teaching you and reinforcing you to have good posture, and it's hydrating the discs. Very, very good for you. You may feel pain at first. It may seem like it's not doing much. Stick with it. Trust me, it's good for you. Little by little, as time goes by, it's like putting a few pennies in an account. You begin to develop what I call cumulative functional equity. You begin having an equity and more functional wiggle room for your lower back rather than always being on the edge and ready to break down. So that's the 3-pump maneuver. Enjoy.